International. I'm called Marinzi. We'll begin with our top stories. Few more days to go, and youth in Cameroon will be celebrating National Youth Day with calls for them to be patriotic and promote development. In this edition, we paint the ambience in some regions in Cameroon. Leaders in conservation have met in Douala to make their work more known, and masterclass is intended to highlight work via NGOs, which after goes unnoticed. And the curtains of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations have been drawn in Cameroon, with much to take home as lessons of the football jamboree. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. 3 more days to go for celebrations to mark National Youth Day in Cameroon. Come February 11, march band rehearsals have begun in schools across Cameroon. At the Yaoundé 1 nursery and primary schools are getting set for the grand event with march past rehearsals. More on the story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamo.
These young ones, nursery school pupils, always makes the march past process very interesting. Many very committed to the singing and marching, following the sounds from their school brass band. Others are easily swayed by the least distraction. Fortunately, the teachers are close by to put them on track, making sure they respect the lines and movement patterns. Not easy at all. And the streets along and around their school, the open rehearsal ground used by these nursery and primary school pupils to announce the Youth Week.
As citizens of Cameroon, we have to perform our duties by going around marching, sensitizing the population about the Youth Week activities. And then we have other activities that are going to take place in the campus. As we are marching and going in, we have other things like KMS, even sports. We have competition, dancing competition, and many other activities. And our school too is equally chosen to take part in the march past, which will take place on the 11th of February, Friday the 11th of February.
With 2 days to go, they are sure to be deep in the National Youth Day spirit. This year's celebration, it should be noted, is under the theme Youth and Voluntary Participation in the Major Challenges of Cameroon.
And youths in the center region have been challenged to act as peace crusaders and play the role to contribute in a nation building. The call was made today by the governor of the center region, Nasir Paul Abia, while launching Youth Day activities in that part of the country. More on the story with our reporter, Udmu Kusumi.
Youth and voluntary participation in the major challenges of Cameroon is a theme for the celebration of this year's National Youth Day. Launching the Youth Week for the Central Region this February 8, the regional governor, Nasir Paul Abia, tasked the youth to be peace ambassadors and serve as a driving force for the development of Cameroon.
We have to build in them the necessity to make Cameroon forge ahead in all its forms without them being forced to do what they have to do. They have to be patriotic.
The Central Regional Boss challenged the youth to be voluntary vectors of nation building.
The take-home message will be that they are going to change and to participate voluntarily in all the development efforts of the country and to change from the bad ways to be good citizens for tomorrow.
According to Nasir Paul Abia, youth are not void of challenges but can overcome them through the avoidance of drugs consumption, sex tape, moving with dangerous weapons in school, staying away from classes and many others. They should instead be able to resolve the security, political, socio-economic, and developmental problems within their communities.
And actors of social affairs have been challenged to develop structural transformation programs for the benefit of vulnerable population across the country. The call was made this February 8 in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, by the Minister of Social Affairs during the opening of the annual conference of the Internal and External Service Heads. More on the story with our reporter, Hyson Chia.
They are representatives of different NGOs working for the conservation of Cameroon's rich biodiversity. Drawn from different regions, these conservation actors are getting equipped on how to communicate impact of their work better.
One of the major challenges with conservation and the protection of the environment is the fact that the capacity for the company and the organizations that are promoting them to actually make the public know what is the best way to address it is really limited.
The masterclass, organized by the Tropical Biology Association in collaboration with the Réseaux Center for Environment and Sustainable Development, seeks to help actors and local communities show their work to the world.
And a lot of community and organizations do conservation, but they don't let people know. They don't talk about it. So it's like smiling in the dark, and we are trying to impact their capacity to communicate and be more effective in sharing what they've been doing on biodiversity conservation.
For 4 days in Douala, February 2nd to February the 5th, through presentations, discussions, and practical sessions, these participants attest they are not going back the same.
I've increased my skills in communication, and I'm also going to carry the message back to my organization like restitution. Telling them and telling them on how to relate with donors and how to relate with other key stakeholders.
We do a lot of work in conservation, and sometimes the language we use, especially in reporting, in communicating like documentations, is not always the best, especially for the donors, for the local communities, because we have different target audience. And therefore, it is important to know the kind of language, the way to communicate with them.
Year after, a communication strategy to accompany conservation efforts will be outlined to enable actors identify their audience, what they want to tell them, and how they want to do so.
That was a report by Regina Leke Tandak on leaders in conservation who met recently in Douala to seek ways of making their work known. And with the socio-political crisis rocking in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon and having brought down the financial and other resources of the Ngwo people of Momo division or northwest region, their traditional ruler has called for greater unity for development and for a brighter future. Retired Colonel Hans Atango met with these subjects resident in Bamenda. More on the story.
The Ngwo community in Bamenda has been called upon to be more.
We are talking about the Ngwo community in the northwest region of Cameroon recently met in Bamenda to see how they could seek development back home. More on that story. It's unfortunate we can't have that story. The revival of the Ambassador rhythm is the vision behind Asale John's 45 years of musical career and a 74th anniversary celebration that took place in Yaoundé on February 26. Speaking during a press conference in Yaoundé, the King of Ambassador said he has been on these alone and wants others to join in restoring the rhythm. More on the story with Hyson Cha.
Saleh John, the King of Ambassador Bay, as he is popularly called, will be thrilling the public of Yaoundé to a great musical concert next February the 26th, 2022. This to mark his 45 years as musical artist and 74th anniversary.
Dans la brume, on vit du débauche et du don juan, d'alcool au soleil Les artistes au Cameroun par la sagesse.
Celebrating two very important blessings in his life, but also wants to revive Cameroon's cultural values, heritage, his nostalgia for Ambassador rhythm.
What I will be doing will go a long way to help this country bring the Ambassador rhythm, which for years have been alone in the battle. Ambassador rhythms need revival, need retouch, relook, like other Cameroonian rhythms.
Papa Saleh carried reporters through his up and down journey of life and musical career.
But the path was difficult, and I acquired wisdom. Come and see this Saleh John you saw when young and old for those aged like me. Come and meet me in that hall. I will not disappoint you. I will be on time.
This lover of Ambassador wants to see all Cameroon's cultural values flying. The vision that this artist and board chief of Sonakam, Atebazo, holds, and participating in the celebration, a kind of rebirth of our culture through Saleh John. His first appearance before the press, all through his musical life, thus announcing the dynamic, passionate, interesting package in store for the spectators.
The curtains of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations have been drawn in Cameroon with a lot of take-home lessons of the football event, a tournament highly animated both on end and off the pitch, a high level of football evolution in Africa's soccer lessons of the just-ended competition. More on the story with our reporter, Hyson Cha.
It is Senegal! Senegal wins the Africa Cup of Nations.
The Teranga Lions of Senegal, new champions of Africa for the very first time. The boys of Aliou Cissé clinching the prestigious title after a difficult and highly performant encounter. Senegal winning the trophy during this 33rd edition of the Total Energies African Gambia and Comoros, creating history in their first appearance at the final phase of the African Football Bonanza, a competition that witnessed the premature departure of previous champions Algeria and the football powerhouse, the Black Stars of Ghana, at the group stage. The ambience, the effervescence, and the high level of support and fanfare during the 52 matches by Africans across the continent didn't go unnoticed. The biggest element of the football fiesta was for sure the extraordinary standards of organization. Cameroon and the confederations of African football have greatly projected the image of the continent through the spectacular and mouth-watering opening and closing ceremonies at the Olembe Stadium, presided at by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. And pundits have it that though with the sad memories of the stampede that claimed life at the sports arena, Cameroon 2021 remains one of the best AFCONs, and the signals gone across the globe. And with the relay baton handed over to the Ivory Coast for the 34th edition, in 2023, the Ivorians now have the challenge to do better in the organization. And going by the words of CAF's president, Patrice Motsepe, we Africans must believe and have trust on our own leaders to be able to take football organization to the finest level.
And that report by Hyson Cha brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19:50. Alain Gislain Kanga coming up next is the brief. We'll leave you. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.